it went from like 50K to like 100, and then like 100 to like 250, 500, 1 million, and then hit 2 million views. And I was like, holy shit, I want to be a baseball pro player or something like
Yeah.
that. I was like, nah, I want to own a donut shop. So I was just living with like four other people, and I was using like our apartment kitchen. And then from there, we'd put them in the van like box, and then I would just have little like bags with stamps on them.
Donuts, surfing, Jesus, like
I just went down like a super, super deep hole. Ended up getting kicked out of college and then came back home like after. It was like during worship. And like as soon as he like touched me, like to just like start talking to me, I just like started like breaking down, like
yeah.
crying, and just was like, wow. And it's
Yeah.
such like a real feeling.
Justice Marini has no
Dude, I've been so pumped to talk to you. I know today's a big day for you. You got like metal coming in. Is that what you said?
Yeah, so we're working on the trailer right now. I have my homie, he's running electrical, and then we're waiting for the metal. So they said they'll call after 9, but they'll give me a call, and then I'm basically just gonna wait for them to come with all the aluminum floors and then the steel walls. And we're just gonna start installing, bro.
My gosh, I love it. All right, well, let's hop into it, man. Just so you know, like, I'm a fan, dude. I can't wait. My shirt's on the way. I'm pumped. I saw your reel where you like dropped them off. I am pumped. And like you crush it on content. Like I'll just say, like, you're
Thank
yourself.
you, bro.
It is killer.
It's fun. It's super fun to make.
Dude, it's awesome. So real quick, I just want to hear from you. Like, how did you get into donuts?
Before after surfing, I'd cruise this donut shop called Doughboys. That's like a Cambodian donut shop down in Newport. It's on PCH in like 48th Street. But I just grew up going there like before and after surfing. And then from that in like third grade, like I remember like second grade vividly. It's like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, vet, because I couldn't spell anything else. And then like in third grade, I was like, dude, I want to do something sicker than just like all the lame ass responses like doctor and like, oh, I want to be a baseball pro player or something like
Yeah.
that. I was like, nah, I want to own a donut shop. And from like that, I was 9 in third grade, and so just from there it's stuck. And every year I've just been like, I want to own a donut shop, and that's just been my thing. So like I've been working in bakeries since I've been 15, and then every kind of job forwarded that to like work in donut shops, learn the trades of donuts. And now like I work at a donut shop full time. Before COVID, I was like making donuts at my apartment and then putting them in my van and selling them. And now I work at a donut shop, but I'm building out the trailer so I could do my own thing.
Wait, you knew since 9 years old, like you're like, dude, donuts are the future.
Yeah, well, 100%. I'm just like, that's what I want my job to be. My like dream is to have my dream then was to have like a donut shop right on the beach with like donut shop underneath, and I lived up top. That was my pad.
I love it. So the story that was in my head that I just made up was like, oh, he just like, how old are you, by the way?
I'm 24 now.
Young. All right. So like my thing was like, oh yeah, like, he as a job in high school, he just got a job at a donut shop and he thought it was cool. So now he wants to open one up. But you're like, bro, you got dough in your veins.
Yeah, and my uncle in the 70s had a donut shop, and then he closed it in the 90s though. And then I wish I got to meet him though. So it's been in my family for sure. And then I got a bunch of aunts and uncles that are super into cooking. My dad's like really into cooking. So it's always been like I've always wanted to like cook and like do that for my niche. So even now with donuts, I'm like getting really good at them. And now I'm starting like to try and learn different recipes of like breads and stuff because I just always want to like chef. I always want to be a chef.
Yes, dude. Okay, and you were always surfing? Like, how'd you get into this? How the surfing thing, like, has that just been, hey, I'm local, man. Like, that's what we do.
Yeah, for sure. Like that, it's I grew up in Costa Mesa, and it started with skimboarding, and then I started like bodyboarding and then surfing. But it's one of those things where like every summer you're going to the beach as a kid and you're just like watching people surf and you're like, oh, that's sick. And as like a local boy, I was like skating with like a bunch of grums, and then we'd go like skimboarding, bodyboarding, and then one summer I got surf lessons when I was 8. And then from there I got like my first board, and then just I've that's been my sport. Like that's my thing. My mom and dad made me do like soccer throughout my lifetime,
Yeah.
but like that's my sport. That was like what I did.
As business is picked up, do you still get to surf? Like, how often do you get to surf now? Like, is it still
Oh,
regular?
yeah, like when the waves are good, I pretty much just like drop everything and just like go surf. But like I definitely can't do it like regularly. Like I would used to surf like 5 times a week, and now I'm probably surfing like twice a week, 3 times a week if I'm like lucky. It's more like twice though. And recently it's like maybe like 1 time just because I'm trying to do all the stuff with the business.
Okay, so let's touch on that. And I can't ignore the fact that you said earlier you were making donuts in your apartment. And like,
Yeah.
wait, so like how old were you? And then how did you, was that like a little business you had for a little bit in like high school? Like you were just like, or after? Like, how'd you go? How, like, where'd you even get like the stuff to like pack them up and like how'd you keep them fresh? I love it. But like, I'm like, how'd you do that?
I was like working at Sidecar, and like how I make donuts is completely different from like how like I was trying to do it. I was doing like gourmet style because I didn't have all the tools. I had like limited tools. So I could only make small batches at a time. It would take me like 2 hours to make like 200 donuts, but we'd put them in. I made like a wooden box, and it had like 10 racks on each side, so I could fit like 20 trays, and I would fit like 2 dozens on each tray and put them into this like little wooden box, and I put wooden floors in my van. But this was like after college. I didn't really like college, so I just went to OCC, which is like a community college, and was doing like their baking and pastry courses there. So I was just living with like 4 other people, and I was using like our apartment kitchen. And then from there, we'd put them in the van like box, and then I would just have little like bags with stamps on them, and we just do like pop ups at like the beach or skate parks or churches. We did, yeah, it was so many different places. It was pretty much like any place I was like, yo, can we do a pop up? They're like, yes, and I was there.
Dude, those churchgoers will eat some donuts, dude. We will pound donuts on a Sunday morning.
Dude, 100%. That's what I'm trying to do with like the trailer again. Like I want to do like church pop-ups and hit like church deliveries too, like for just fat pink boxes of donuts.
When did the social pop off? Like, because I don't know how I found it. I was like just going through, and then I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, this guy's young. Wait, donuts, surfing, Jesus? Like, yeah, but like, who is this person? He's young. Like, did it just pop off, or has it been like a slow progression of just creating content and it working? Then I noticed you're working with like an agency now for just like that
Yeah,
eggshell.la or something like that. So kind of walk me through like you blowing up on social.
it was so like I had like a really strong community following, like community following in Costa Mesa, Newport Beach when like pre-COVID, when I was doing it out of my apartment. And then I did breakfast out of a Vietnamese shop for like 3 months, but then COVID hit. So like it was a super small operation there, but I had like 2,400 followers, and that was all just like natural growth from just the community being like, oh, look, we know Dane's Donuts, that's the kid hustling. And
Yeah.
so that was sick. And then basically once I started back at making them full time like 2 years ago out of the shop, I had I had this random chick, or not random, she's like a mutual friend, but like I didn't know her at the time. And she hit me up and she's like, oh, I have a school project for local business owners, and like I want to do you because like you're way more interesting than
Yeah.
most of the kids are doing in my class. But she's like a videographer, like she goes to videography cinema school. So the project was like she had to make like a 3 minute video about like a business owner, like what they do, what their business is about, and just like film their whole like 9 to 5. And so she came to me with like an overnight shift and like filmed everything. And then we had like another day where she came to my house and we filmed like just audio, like interview questions. So the YouTube video that like I put up on my website, and then at the time it was just in my bio. That was like her full school project. And then she made me a reel that was just like a cut and down version of her school project. But I posted that, and that was like doing well. And then randomly like, or it like did well where like most of my videos would get like 10K views, like 800 likes, like, and I'd be like, yeah, yeah, like so hyped. And then this video got like 50K and was like 1,000 likes, and I was like, hell yeah, like super dub, let's go. And then I like 3 weeks or like a month later after me posting it, it just went viral and just started like, it went from like 50K to like 100, and then like 100 to like 250, 500, 1 million, and then hit 2 million views. And I was like, holy shit, dude. Like I was like, I had no idea that like that could happen, you know?
Yeah.
Like it felt so surreal. And then from there, that's I like that whole like month and a half, I went from like 2K to like 62K. And I was like, holy crap, dude, this is so gnarly. And then I've just I don't really like make content, but now I make content now. So like it's funny. It's like it was just super funny. Like I didn't expect it to blow up, and it did. And now from there I've been like trying to do like merch drops and stuff. And then they're just it's I'm one person, so it's super gnarly. And I was like hitting up just like different people. Like I wanted to do new stickers, and I was talking to a couple people. And then eggshells, like there's a company called FA, which is like effing awesome. It's like a
Yep.
skate company, and they're super like well known like SoCal. And so like I have like a couple decks of theirs that I like, and they started doing like stickers for FA, and we're like at like a bunch of events, and I was like, oh, these guys are sick. So I hit them up to do stickers. And then they also just were the person that like owns A Shows, Johnny, he was talking to me. He's like, "You need help like doing like product runs and like merchandise runs, and we could like structure drops for you." And I was like, "Yeah, like I'm so down." Just because like I want to give my customers like some to be stoked about like on a consistent basis, and I just can't provide the level of quality that I want to as like a one man team. So I was like, I need the extra help for sure.
Yeah.
So I started working with them. They run like my stickers, and they're sick because they just help me like make content. Because like also that's not my thing. Like I need like help for ideas, or like if we're gonna go shoot something, like they'll help me like shoot it. So and they're rad. They're super rad people. I'm really stoked to like have met them. It's a huge blessing. They take a huge burden off of my shoulders.
Oh, I can't imagine. I mean, your merch looks awesome. Like it looks like it feels like it fits you. Like it's you. Like I'm getting like your vibe in the shirts and all the stuff, the sweaters, and all the hats. It all looks sick. Like for you right now, like you're a hustler. Did you go, we got to do merch yet next? Or were you like, someone approached you with the idea? Or because it sounds like you're just this young hustler. Like you're just like, all right, this, even the fact that you're like, trailer, let's do it, is like hustle. So, like
Yeah.
the merch side with the content is genius. But was that like, whose idea was that? Like, how'd that come about?
Off the gate, I wanted to do something like that was sick. So I was doing sustainable drops. So I would thrift up all the blanks, whether it was like a shirt blank, like it was a vintage shirt blank, or like a vintage crew neck. And I like that's like what my chick does, and I love doing is just buying and reselling like vintage clothes. And we had a couple friends that had like some dead stock stuff that they got. So I just bought boxes of their dead stock blanks that were like all single stitch, like really, really cool merchandise. So the first merch drop was all like one offs, vintage clothes, like truly like 70s, 80s, and 90s dead stock. So it was like 60 items, but that was all my idea. Like I hit up an artist to do that, like remake my logo, and then he made like a fun like little back piece logo. So I ran that style of drop for the first and second one, because most of just like the wholesalers, like for like t-shirts and like crew necks and hoodies, like I don't love, so I wasn't gonna be like, oh yeah, like I'm just gonna hustle people and just give them some like shit shirts. So I really wanted the like quality to be top notch. In high school I was part of like a surf team, and our surf team was sponsored by Volcom, Billabong, Hurley,
Oh,
and
no
then
kidding.
like Ruka. And so I
Yeah.
went to like a couple of the like old connects that I had at Volcom, and then the owner of Ruka, like two of his kids went to high school with me. And so I hit up his dad. I was like, "Where do you guys get blanks and stuff?" And then they're like, "Oh, here's like a couple of our like wholesalers that we get them from." So I was like, "Sick! Like, there's gonna be like good merch that I'm proud of." So the third run was like all through like those wholesalers. I've been working with this one screen printer in San Diego who hit me up through like uh blowing up, and he's like, "Oh, if you ever need shirts for the low, or like not shirts, but like if you ever need screen printing done, I got you." So he does all my screen printing. He's really good at what he does. So I finally got like a really good structure going for it going forward. So like this next February drop, I'll have like the same quality of merch runs, just like different colors and doing different designs. But it's been like a figuring out process for sure,
Dude,
man.
you're hustling. Like, I'm just saying, it's fun watching you do it. I ordered the shirt like maybe a month and a half ago, maybe a month ago. I don't even care that it's not getting here in Amazon time, right? I'm just like pumped that I'm a part of like the story. Like, it's so cool. It feels like you're a natural entrepreneur. Like, even for you to network through these relationships. So, like, right now, the revenue that you're doing right now, are you excited about it? Are you where you want to be? Are you like, dude, I got so much more vision for so much bigger? Does the revenue drive you, or just like the customer? Like, what drives Dane when he's like, because you're building and you're building quick, man. Like, it's happening. You've got your trailer, dude. You're gonna have a trailer that, I mean, it's happening. So,
Yeah,
like, is it vision? Like, what is it for you?
my end goal is to get like my own brick and mortar retail shop, but even just like I have like this other kid that's a year younger than me, or like 2 years younger than me, and he's got like his own like clothing brand, and he's doing like really good numbers. And so like having that drive, like knowing that there's younger homies under like my game that are doing like way gnarlier numbers than I'm doing, it's like, oh, I could be there. So it's like one, a competitive battle. Also, like I really want to get the capital to get a retail location. And it's also like the merchandise drops, like each one's done like better than the last, but like not astronomical. Like it's always been like small W's. So it's like keep I'm like at least we're like it's not two steps back, it's like always one step forward, and like we're just keep moving forward. So that forward when like momentum is like super needed because it keeps like the fire under my butt. But also I just really want like to be, I don't know, I'm always like looking, I don't want to like freaking have like mass stores or anything. I just want to have like my one store, and once I'm there, like I feel like I'll be like super content, just because I really want to have a place for like people to come. And with the trailer, I'm going to people, and I'm like making those relationships happen. But the main relationship I want is people to come to like my shop and just be like, dude, this is where I belong. Like I just feel super at home here, just because that's the whole feeling that I had growing up at the donut shop, because I'd kick it there for like 2 3 hours, and like the Vietnamese and Cambodians knew me like by name. So it's like I've always wanted to like have that relationship with people where it's like I'm giving them like nutrients and sustenance, and like also just filling their cup just with like, I don't know, everyone needs like that emotional like booster. And so if I could just have sick ass conversations with people and like not motivate them, but just like those little joyful moments are like what makes the day go forward. Like me and my dad also grew up going to the donut shop. So like to have that place for like a father and son to cruise to, or like mom and daughter, like family setup, it's like I just want to be that person like in people's lives.
Experience is huge for you. It's even in like your marketing, like your content in your brand. Experience is a big deal, and I could tell that. Like,
because fads just sell. Like fads
Yeah,
go up and down, and it's like I want to be timeless. Like that's my goal. Like I want to be like the Dane's Donuts. Like that's just like the place to go. Like, and I'll have like menu substitutes, and like I'll always be trying to innovate what I'm doing and offering like a really good selection of like a menu. But I'm not like here to like hop on the next like fad trend and do something that's like, oh, like try and get a like ton of likes for a crazy recipe. It's like I'm just doing it the traditional way, and I want to keep those like traditional values like for sure, and like be one of those spots that's like just super mom and pop traditional values.
I love it. And for you, like, where does Jesus kind of where's that part come out? Because that's been in your content too, which I've loved. Um, like
Yeah,
what
like
what that's interesting.
I've been a like I grew up in a Christian household, and then I don't know, like during high school it just like faded, and going into college too, like I really wanted it to be like a part of my life, and I went to like a Christian high school or a Christian college, Point Loma, on like scholarship. I just had this like gnarly battle of like rejecting like the church, and like I couldn't, and still do, like I still have like moments where I like, just don't feel like I belong in the church. And this is like me like kind of making like poor decisions. And like one of my friends, like throughout college we got super close because we went to San Diego and we didn't really know anyone. And I'm like a lot more grungier than like most Christians. So like, and a lot of the kids are like, I come from like lower middle class family, and it's a bunch of just like super upper upper class like white people, and it's just like the entitlement was just like super hard for me to deal with. So me and this homie just clicked like really hard, and we grew up in high school together, but we just started doing like a bunch of drugs together, like pills and stuff. And in like November, October of like my first year, he died of an overdose with his girlfriend. And like I just went down like a super super deep hole. Ended up getting kicked out of college, and then came back home, and like was really suicidal. And my mom and I like really separated, and she like distanced herself like a ton from me. And I like pretty much like didn't really have like much motivation in life anymore, or just like to kind of like even like have like a relationship with God. Like that wasn't even a concept in my head. It was like I just didn't want to be here so hard. So when my mom randomly asked me, she's like, "Oh, do you want to go to this Compel night at Vanguard?" And I was like, "You haven't asked me to do anything. Sure." Like I'm super down. Like because
Yeah.
I was probably at home for like a month and a half, and we didn't do like anything together. And she didn't ask me like to do anything to be a part of the family. She just like kind of wanted me to keep a distance, and was trying like to get me to move out too. And so I went to this Compel night, and this pastor, his name's like Daryl, really cool guy, but he was speaking over like at the end of service, he was speaking over like people going through these like super gnarly rough patches in their life, and like standing up to get prayed for.
Hmm.
And like he was like calling out these like chicks that were like going through an abortion or had a miscarriage, or like people like struggling with suicide, and was calling out like these super like individual stories, like had like four like really gnarly like individual people he called out. And like I was like one of them, but didn't like walk up to get prayed for. I was just like,
Yeah.
dude, so I feel like I'm getting spoken to like really hard right now. So I like walked up to him like after, it's like during worship, and like as soon as he like touched me, like to just like start talking to me, I just like started like breaking down, like
Yeah.
crying, and just was like, wow. Like I felt like so straight for so long, but it like just having that touch was just like, oh wow, like I felt like I belong. And
Yeah.
so that's where like I really just came back to Christ, and like really wanted just to dedicate like everything I
Whoa.
can to like push not like just like my experience, but my experience is my relationship with Christ. So it's like I just really want people to have that relationship that I like cherish, because it's not something that's like, it's just so heavy, and it's
Yeah.
such like a real feeling, and I don't want to like force it on to like anyone, but I always just like really want to keep introducing people to him as like much as I possibly can.
Dude, I had
Yeah.
no idea, man. That's so powerful.
Yeah, so it's like as a kid, I was like a Christian, so like one of my ideas is like the holy roller donut. So like it's a donut with a Bible verse on it. So like that's something that I'll always run, and it'll like change out weekly, and I'll have a place on the trailer that'll the verse will be written out. That's like the small seed that I want to plant, and also just with like people of the world like exclaiming their like sexual beliefs or other beliefs like that aren't Christian, or just like straight up just other people have other beliefs, and like I feel like it's super important to have like the freedom that I have to like preach the word of God like in a very like kind and like open-hearted way. But also I recognize that it's like there's so much like a nuisance going on. It's like I want to be one of the voices that are, it's like I want to proclaim his truth. Like when you're in SoCal too, you're like, dude, it's like, oh, you're seeing like the devil at play, your spiritual warfare. So you're like,
Yeah.
I want to be able just like to speak his truth always.
What does supporting Dane in this business look like? Is it buying merch? Is it, hey, if you're over in your side, come roll by, get a donut? Like, what does supporting Dane's Donuts look like, or just Dane?
Like I would say just like once my trailer's up, like cruising to events and supporting those events. Of course, if you want to like buy some merch or like buy some coffee. Like I'm doing coffee on my next drop that I'm
Oh,
super stoked
nice.
on, like my house blend. But I would just say there's like interact with like the Instagram, like spread the word. Like that's all I'm trying to do is like spread his word. So there's other times where I have to like market donuts, but like almost like I would say like 80% of my content is just like with his word like proclaimed in it. So it's just like
Yeah.
sharing his word, just trying to share that to as like many people, because it's, I don't know, it's super digestible. They're like, oh, it's not a preacher. Like he's just making donuts. Like
Yeah.
that's sick.
It is.
So
It's super sweet. I absolutely love it. Well, dang, dude. Oh my gosh, man. I feel like we have so much in common, dude. We love donuts. I've only gone surfing once. I sucked at it, but I loved it. We love Jesus. It's incredible. So, man, I'm thinking, man, we could be like really good friends. What do you think?
oh dude, I'm sorry, man. No.